Cherry Biome Constitution. Chapter 1. Civics. Article 1. It is the duty of the government described in this document to provide for the welfare and prosperity of the people as public servants, while infringing on their personal liberties to the smallest degree possible. It is also the duty of the government to improve the lives of all people in the world, given that it does not negatively impact the lives of Cherian citizens, while avoiding unnecessary foreign conflicts. 2. All Cherians and close allies are granted the following rights: freedom of speech, assembly, expression, petition, and press, be tried fairly in a court of appointed judges, legal counsel and representation will be provided expediently for the defendant should they desire it. This includes the right to appeal and be retried in the High Court, to be assumed innocent until proven guilty, immunity from cruel and unusual punishments and from slavery, immunity to conviction for laws broken before they were written, the right to bear weapons both for self-defense and for the defense of the nation, freedom from demands of tribute or other taxation, material contributions to the government and its projects will be voluntary. An exception may be made in times of emergency powers. To be treated fairly during the distribution of work and resources, the right to a free and fair vote. 3. Only Cherians may run for or be appointed to office. No person may hold more than a single office at a time. Chapter 2. Legislative. Article 1. The legislative consists of a parliament of no less than 10 members, voted in by the public. The parliament increases and reduces in size to equal 10% of the population of voters in the previous parliamentary election, to a minimum of 10 members. Their primary responsibilities are the creation of laws, proposal of constitutional amendments, declaring war, and declaring states of emergency. The voting record is always public. 2. For an act to be passed, it requires a simple majority parliamentary vote. That's 50% plus 1. The Prime Minister, even if they voted against it, must sign the act for it to pass. If they refuse to sign the act, the Parliament can pass an act with a majority of 70%. 3. If a supermajority of 75% of the Parliament agree, a vote of no confidence can be passed. The Emperor temporarily takes on the role of Prime Minister until a special election can be concluded and a new Prime Minister enters office. 4. The voting in of members of Parliament will be conducted in the following manner. Ballot. The entire country is a single electoral district. Voters pick a party and specify their preferred candidate on that party's list. Counting. Seats are distributed based on the percentage of the nationwide vote a party gets. For example, if a party wins 20% of the vote, they get roughly 20% of the seats. Candidate selection. Seats are given to candidates in the order they appear on the party list. However, if a candidate lower on the list receives a high number of personal preference votes, above 25% of the national vote, they bypass the prearranged order and jump straight into Parliament. 5. A declaration of war requires a 75% vote in the Parliament to pass. 6. During times of peace, members of the national military may only enter foreign territories under certain circumstances. The foreign territory is a national ally, and the chain of command is aware. The foreign territory is the target of a Cherian declaration of war, and the member has orders to be there. Or there is a diplomatic agreement ratified by Parliament between the Cherian government and the foreign nation permitting the deployment of troops in that foreign territory, and the member has orders to be there. 7. There are two kinds of amendments: addition and modification. When creating an addition, multiple articles may be added within a single chapter. This permits the creation of new chapters. Modification. When modifying, only a single article may be revised. This includes removal. 9. Regardless of whether the amendment is an addition or modification, the process is the same. The amendment begins in Parliament and requires a 75% majority vote. After it passes the parliamentary vote, the Prime Minister will conduct a vote among all Cherian citizens. If greater than 50% of the total active Cheri population votes, and there is a simple majority in favour, the amendment is ratified. 10. A Member of Parliament may be removed by impeachment with a unanimous vote in the High Court. After their impeachment, a special election is held in 5 days. The new member of parliament serves for the remainder of their term. If there is less than 10 days in the term, no special election is held. Chapter 3. Executive. Article 1. The executive will consist of a prime minister and no less than 4 ministers: deputy, works, rights, and defence. It is the duty of the prime minister and his ministers to see to the execution and implementation of the law in the form of policy. The prime minister is the head of the executive. Their ministers borrow from the prime minister's power. Anything that the ministers have the authority to do, the prime minister may also do. The deputy minister is responsible for directing the 4 ministries and managing the state finances, along with assisting the prime minister in his duties. The Minister of Works is responsible for planning civil projects, and during times of peace can use soldiers to conduct civil projects. The Minister of Rights is responsible for foreign affairs and governing over and appointing diplomats. The Minister of Defense is in charge of the military and changes its name to the Ministry of War during times of war. During times of war, the Ministry of War may also call upon the national militia. Further ministers may be appointed or removed at the Prime Minister's leisure. Any minister may be dismissed at the Prime Minister's leisure. Article 2. Free and fair elections are to be held every 60 days, with the last 10 days of every term spent on campaigning. If a single candidate does not win a simple majority, the 2 candidates with the highest votes in the parliamentary election enter into a special election, with the winner of the special election becoming the Prime Minister. 3. Ministers are appointed at will by the Prime Minister. A minister may be removed from office at any time by the Prime Minister. Ministers do not have more authority than the Prime Minister, and are extensions of the Prime Minister's enumerated authority. Chapter 4. Judiciary. Article 1. It is the duty of the judiciary to interpret and carry out the law to its completion, and to resolve disputes in a reasonable and expedient manner. 2. The judiciary will consist of trial and civil courts presided over by a high court. The high court will consist of 3 high judges elected by people for a lifetime. The High Court will appoint judges, create new courts, and remove judges as it deems necessary. Newly appointed judges may not be removed until 1 week after they were originally appointed. 3. The High Court may only see appellate cases in which the constitutionality of the law is in question, and treason cases. Trial courts may also request to defer a case directly to the High Court should the justice determine that the law in question is unconstitutional. 4. In the event that a justice of the High Court has broken a substantial law or violated the Constitution, they may be impeached by the Parliament with a 75% or greater majority vote. The High Court will then be unable to see further cases until a 3rd member is elected by the people in a special election 10 days from the impeachment, but will remain its administrative ability. 5. The Prime Minister will appoint an Attorney General, who will be responsible for representing the Cherry government in domestic courts of law. The Prime Minister may remove the Attorney General at their leisure, provided a replacement has been determined. Chapter 5. Emergency Powers. Article 1. In a time of crisis, Parliament may call a state of national emergency with a 70% vote. A time of crisis may include an extensive terror attack, time of war, or other disaster. Regardless of the rights of the people involved, the government may take for its temporary use the personal and corporate property of its citizens for the express purpose of effectively responding to the threat. Appropriate compensation must then be returned to those whose property was claimed. It may call its citizens to arms through the national militia. The government may also confine alleged criminals associated with the threat to extended imprisonment pending trial. 3. The emergency powers may only be used for 10 consecutive days, after which the Parliament must pass another vote in order to extend the use of emergency powers. 6. Royalty. Article 1. The beloved Emperor Scribe holder is the figurehead and symbolic leader of Cherry. His life and the lives of his family members are precious national treasures. 2. The royal blossoms are a guard force that serves to protect the Emperor, disregarding the interests of the national government. The royal blossoms are separate from the military. When Cherians are threatened by threats, foreign or domestic, the royal blossoms become the Emperor's personal military force, and serve at his command in defense of all Cherians. 3. In the event that a Prime Minister is removed, the beloved Emperor temporarily takes on the roles and responsibilities of the Prime Minister until a new one can be appointed 5 days after by special election. The new Prime Minister serves for the remainder of the term. The emperor determines their own succession, if necessary.